Welcome to A Transformed Life, the podcast where we alchemize our ashes into art, transform our pain into power and peace. I'm Hope Rose, your hope dealer, inspirational guide, and storyteller in this podcast. Each week, we dive into inspirational stories of transcending our grief, how to navigate custody battles with peace, transform our trauma into triumph, and what seems like a mess into a magnificent masterpiece. Together, we'll foster transformation, resilience, and guide you in claiming personal responsibility for your story. Our stories offer hope, encouragement, and community support, guiding you toward better health and wellness. Join me as we discover actionable ways to leverage our struggles, find healing, and rise like a phoenix. Tune in to discover your power, your divinity, and learn how to embrace your story so that it can serve others on their transformational journey. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. I am so glad you are here. A little housekeeping before we dive into today's discussion topic. Number one, I just released a 2024 Holiday Soulful Selections gift guide, and I'll explain a little bit more in this episode what is in there. It is full of some amazing products that I use almost daily, and a few of them have discount codes. One of them is my favorite skincare company, Alitura Naturals. Get 20% off. So make sure you go to hoperosespeaks.com and get your free download. It's an amazing free resource for you. All of the items in there are non-toxic, and there's some gifts for children, for yourself maybe, and it's a good guide to give to your significant other for what you would like this Christmas or holiday season. So that is number one. Number two is to make sure you sign up for my newsletter, and when you get the holiday gift guide, you will automatically be joined for that. So that takes care of two birds with one stone. And I think that is all of the housekeeping that I have. Oh, nope. Number three, make sure you rate the show. That is how you can support this podcast, by giving me a 5-star review on any platform that you're on, Spotify or Apple. I would greatly appreciate that, and that means the world to me. As I was thinking what to talk about on this podcast for today, no specific one topic really came to me. And so as I was driving back from the hot springs, I went to the hot springs and did a cold plunge this evening, which was super refreshing. I was kind of like really asking Source, what do I speak on? I need to get this podcast recorded and sent over to my producer. What do I speak, Source? And what kind of came to me was a mashup of what I've been seeing online, some things that I have posted online myself in response to observations and whatnot. And so today's podcast is just going to be a mix, and we'll see how this format goes. And if you like it, let me know. And I will kind of continue to do this format instead of maybe a specific topic, or really whatever Source downloads to me. Sometimes it's very clear on what I'm supposed to be talking about. And other times, like this evening, I think it's going to be more of what has kind of come up in the last week. I also, near the end of the podcast, will give you an update on my son. And there's been some recent developments just in the last day or so that have been very interesting. That has to do with the other party. And so we will dive into those juicy details at the end of this episode. The first thing I want to talk about is I am shocked at how many women do not realize that birth control, oral contraceptives, are classified as a carcinogen. And this thought was spurred on by somebody posting on social media. And she posted like, "Hey, don't forget to take your birth control." And I was like, I sure hope that's not true, because birth control is extremely toxic. It is very harmful to the female body. It disrupts hormones. It increases at least 3 different types of cancers. It alters, your biology, and ultimately is trying to control something. Our bodies were not made to be controlled, just like nature. Anytime we try to control something, whether it's another individual, our situation, our bodies, our nature, there's going to be a pushback. There's going to be a backlash of a person being controlled. And we can look at this through the lens of a mother being abused by her ex, the father of her children, because I've gone through this. And, the ex in my situation is still he's attempting to be, controlling of me. That's why they call it coercive control. Thankfully, I've done a lot of healing work, and so he doesn't rattle me as much as he used to. But when he or any abusive individual tries to control and manipulate another individual, if that person doesn't heal something in their life and, works on the triggers and all of that, eventually that person is going to explode. That person is going to be pushed to the brink. And this is oftentimes where you see women kill their, significant other or, partner because they have been pushed to the limit. They've been controlled, manipulated, abused just one too many times, and they snap. And we see this in nature, and we see this in the human body. And, it's on all different levels. So it's not just in relationships. It is in nature when we try to control bugs and weeds. I'm talking specifically about Roundup and glyphosate and all of the synthetic herbicides and fungicides and pesticides that are now in our water. They're in our soil. They're in our air. And nature does not like that. And so we as a species, as humanity, really need to learn that we are not here on this planet to control. We are here to create. We are here for consciousness. And consciousness does not allow for control. And so I was kind of thinking about this earlier of just how many women are suffering needlessly because they have been sold this lie that they need to, control their reproductive, quote unquote, rights with birth control. And that is just very misaligned. And it causes all kinds of health problems for the female body. It alters their mood. It even changes who they are attracted to. And so it's just a really toxic pharmaceutical. And the longer a woman is on that, the harder it is to regulate their hormones. And I think that's why so many going through like perimenopause or menopause have difficulty, because they have altered their hormones so drastically through decades of taking oral contraceptives and even like IUDs or, other insertables. They are still extremely toxic because, again, the underlying principle of these is to control, prevent pregnancy, but it's even deeper than that. And so if you are a female on birth control, I'd really ask you to reconsider why you're on that and to look at other alternatives and to really come into a place of honoring your body and being in harmony with that and no longer trying to control something from like the outside and, using other methods for birth control that are aligned, that are safe for your entire mind body system. And so obviously I am not on any birth control. It simply does not align with my values and my lifestyle. And I'll leave it at that. So that's kind of the first thing I wanted to talk about. The next thing I wanted to talk about is this thought. It's really interesting how people will remove gluten from their lifestyle when they are told they have, gluten sensitivity or celiac or Crohn's or, some kind of, quote unquote, dis-ease, hyphenated word. And they won't remove glyphosate. And I have said this for years. Gluten is not the problem. Glyphosate, these toxic synthetic pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, all of the sides are what is causing havoc on people's guts. And it's really interesting with people in the States, they have celiac. They can go to Italy and have their gluten full pasta and not have a problem. And why is this? It's because Italy doesn't use as much pesticides as the States does. And so whenever I hear a person like, I'm going to, give up gluten, honestly, the gluten-free products are still so processed, still toxic, still not giving the body nutrition. And so the first thing I would do if somebody is, being told, oh, I need to, go gluten-free, is to take a pause, step out of the medical matrix, and step into how can I heal my body? Because this is just a symptom. This is the body asking to be healed. It's not asking to remove gluten from a nutritional point of view. And so it's just really fascinating how people are so quick. A medical doctor was like, oh, you're going to need to remove gluten. And they listen to this medical doctor who has zero nutritional training, zero training in soil health, in environmental toxins that are wrecking the gut. And that's the main issue with these autoimmune diseases, specifically with Crohn's, colitis, celiac. It's in the gut. And so 80% of our immune system is in our gut. And our gut also affects our brain health. And so when people take the step to healing their mind, body, spirit, and looking at it from a whole point of view versus just a microcosm of just, oh, it's just, gluten's the enemy. I'm going to remove gluten and I'm still going to eat crap. Your health won't improve. Now, some of your symptoms might improve, but that is a very controlled way of living, because some people really, they can't do cross-contamination and just the stress of that. And so in my years of guidance, I always come from the approach, what is our body trying to tell us? What is our lifestyle supporting? How can I adapt and change my lifestyle to support that which is aligned for me? And if somebody wants to go on the gluten-free path for a time until they realize, oh, maybe there's a different way I can do something. Everyone has to make their own free will choice. And that is what I'm offering to you on this podcast, is you have options. And the first option is to heal your gut and to really look at the nutrition you're eating. You want whole organic foods, and it might take a while to repair the gut if it can't break down, enzymes and proteins. And, if you're not digesting your food, that will contribute to health issues. So it's really important to to look at this from a whole point of view, and that is paramount to how I guide and coach and practice with other humans. Is gluten is not the enemy. How we've destroyed our food system here, particularly in the US, is the problem. So you can absolutely heal from whatever diagnosis the medical establishment has given you. And if you want to subscribe to that diagnosis and be a slave to that, that is your choice. And I will also offer a different choice. Door number 2 is you can say, I'm not defined by my diagnosis. I'm going to seek out ways to heal my body so I can live a full, integrated life. And this is a step for me to learn about my nutrition. Am I eating organic? What products am I using on my body? Am I using a quality probiotic? I highly recommend the gut microbiome from Intelligent Change, I think it is. Ion, it's with Zach Bush. It's Ion Intelligence of Nature. And it is an amazing product. I take it daily as well. And it really helps remove the glyphosate from your body. It's called Gut Support Ion Intelligence of Nature, intelligenceofnature.com. I'll link to this in the show notes. They're not a sponsor. They're just something that I use. And so I highly recommend that anybody start taking that daily. It's safe for kids, but it really reduces the glyphosate pesticide load on your system, and it will help repair the gut. The other thing I would suggest is bitters. There's a couple different brands you can try. Organic Olivia has bitters that help with the digestive system, as well as Urban Moonshine, both herbal tinctures and earthly wellness. So those are 3. I will do my best to include those in the show notes for you to check out as well. And then really making sure that you get probiotics of, again, quality nature. Raw sauerkraut is a really great way to get those probiotics into your system, and really taking them with each meal. These are like digestive, enzymes, and it helps, digestive enzymes help break down the foods. That's a separate thing, but eating sauerkraut with the probiotics is a really good way to get the probiotics into your system versus pill form. I do recommend, and I take it myself, there's a liquid probiotic that's soil-based. It is SCD Probiotics. It is fabulous. I recommend it for everyone. And it has all the living cultures in it, and it's one that the body will absorb. Many of the other ones are shelf-stable, and they just simply aren't up to par for my recommendation or my personal use. So those are some of the products you can check out, whether you are trying to avoid gluten, whether you just got a gluten diagnosis, whether you just want to have a healthy body. If you're feeling, sick and run down, those are the places where I would start. I guess the 4th thing is the digestive enzymes. That also helps break down the food so your body can absorb the food that you are eating, because it doesn't matter if you take all the vitamins and the herbal tinctures and even eating, organic food. If your body is not absorbing what you are putting in it, it doesn't benefit your body in the long run. And so it's really important to make sure that your body is absorbing what you are giving it and being very mindful of what you're putting in it. The last thing I kind of want to touch on, it goes on to this medical matrix, medical mafia. Another woman I heard, her cortisol levels are really high, and the doctor told her to eat ice cream before bed. I almost flipped out of my chair when I heard that horrible advice. And when our cortisol levels are high, eating ice cream before bed is, I can't even believe a doctor would even say that. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be shocked, but that's where we are in 2024, unfortunately. And so I would really recommend switching to an integrative naturopathic doctor versus just a medical doctor. They don't know anything about hormones or the adrenals or anything really to do with nutrition. And so if you're struggling with cortisol issues, regulate your nervous system, number one. And number two is to really focus on your adrenals. I'm big on adrenal health, and it's a topic I have been talking about for years. I created a course on this, 8 some years ago. And adrenal health is, I think I've even discussed it on this podcast, but adrenals are home to over 50 plus hormones. And when they're out of whack, everything else is out of whack. And so that's how cortisol levels can become really high. Cortisol levels can become high with chronic stress, not taking care of yourself, overload of environmental toxins, poor nutrition, poor relationships, all of the above, just general stress of every category. So it's really important to kind of take inventory of your system and really nurturing your nervous system somatically, nutritionally, wise supplements to support your nervous system. And please do not eat ice cream before bed to help your cortisol levels. There are aligned ways that you can take to honor your system. And if anything, what I would suggest before bed is that you actually want some fat. So one of my favorite quote unquote snacks before bed is full fat coconut milk with a little organic cacao powder mixed into it. So it's kind of like chocolate pudding with maybe a touch of maple syrup and then maybe a little dash of organic cinnamon, pure maple syrup, I might add on that. And then some fresh fruit. That is how you would eat before going to bed. Not ice cream, but something that's healthy to nourish your body and to put your system into an optimal sleep state. All right. We are kind of near the end of this show, this episode. And so here is the current update on my son. I am court ordered to give a minimum 48 hours notice of my intent to exercise my video a visit. And so I do that way before the 48-hour deadline. I usually do it 4 to 3 days ahead of time. So I did that last week, and the ex read that message 2 days before the video visit. Didn't say anything, no reply. Friday afternoon comes around and he sends a message. This is Black Friday, saying that my son has an event that night and we need to reschedule. No problem. Let's reschedule for Saturday. Messaged him right back on this parenting app platform and did not hear from him at all Saturday. Sent another message on Sunday, said, let's reschedule for tonight. Still didn't hear from him. We are now into Monday, December 2nd. And he sends a message on Monday morning saying they have spotty service. So this is continued abuse. This is why I am sharing kind of the more intimate details of what is happening in my specific case. We are going into year 7 of family court. And he is deliberately refusing to do visits. I said, let's do Monday night. Again, doesn't check the messaging app. Tuesday, again, doesn't check. And then sends a message, we can do Thursday. Well, Thursday doesn't suit me. He's already missed 5 nights in a row of a reschedule. And then yesterday, he sent me a message saying, at this point, I'm going to postpone all future visits. So he has elected to willfully violate the court order and is canceling all video visits. I tried a video visit this evening and there was no answer. So that is where we are at. There is legal recourse being taken as I record this. And so I will keep you updated on how this all transpires. And, this is where healing and transformation hits the road. I am grateful for how much I have worked on myself this year, particularly. And so really moving through this situation with grace and a more aligned, healed nervous system has been something I've been working on. And I'm really happy to say that things are integrating in my life, and that will have a profound impact on this court case moving forward, and also with my vision for humanity and the world at large. So thank you so much for joining me. If you have any comments or questions, you know how to reach me. Instagram at Hope Rose Speaks. My website's hoperosespeaks.com. And if you want to be a guest on this show, I do guest a little bit differently. And that is through a one-on-one coaching session. So if you would like a free coaching session to be recorded on this podcast, apply in the link below in the show notes, and we will get you set up. With that, I will say have a great day, and I will see you next week.
Thank you so much for listening to a Transformed Life podcast. If you got something out of today's episode, please take a screenshot and share it on social media with your takeaway. And don't forget to tag us at Hope Rose Speaks. Have a beautiful day.